Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the XP Podcast Level 10. My name is Rob, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Austin and Adam. How you guys doing?
10, baby.
I knew that was going to make you guys be like, who's going to go first?
I'm feeling 10 out of 10.
Great.
Nice.
Before we started, I wanted to double check and make sure. Level 10, 10, the big 1-0, that's a big deal. We've already done 10 episodes of this podcast, which I'm actually very proud of us for doing. In Pokemon terms, we're a Metapod right now. So,
do you guys remember turning
16,
10?
No, I don't, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I think level 10 is when I fell on the jungle gym and I completely just right on the bars.
Just
when I
just
was 10.
kind of, yeah.
You know, when I was 10, I was probably playing some Jack and Daxter. I was probably playing a good amount of Pokemon at the time still.
Wow. I don't remember what I was playing. I think it was Ratchet and Clank, maybe. Kingdom Hearts. I can't remember.
I think around that time, I was a good Christian boy, and my parents threw away all the consoles except for the PS1. Dude. My dad put that in a chest that I had no idea where it was, and so as a good Christian boy under the Lord always would do, I was watching VeggieTales on repeat. And so,
as you should, because consoles are of the devil. So
absolutely,
Pokemon
of the devil. As a matter of fact, I need to issue an apology right now. I know I mentioned the word Metapod. To all my fellow evangelicals out there, forgive me.
Forgiveness.
I did not mean it.
We
but
didn't mean
you
it.
can take it as it is. All right.
Should I not talk about the fact that I was reading a lot of Harry Potter when I was 10 as well?
Oh my God, Adam!
No, man.
Adam,
that's witchcraft, man.
We just lost two listeners right there. I'm gonna have to kick you from the call right now.
I mean that one. It is a big hit, so I understand.
Oh my gosh.
Do y'all remember that
times.
time? Holy moly, what a time that was.
Yeah.
I remember that time.
It was great.
Bye Pokemon. Bye.
I knew a family that wasn't allowed to watch Teletubbies because the creators were gay, and that family was against that, so they didn't let their kids watch it. Yeah,
that was a known thing back then.
None of that sin. You stay away from that show, you sinners. And I'm like, it's Teletubbies.
Didn't Teletubbies have a whole? And Teletubbies actually had a whole episode of Noah's Ark. Actually,
did they really?
They did. That was a trippy show.
My God,
I don't remember
crazy
any kind of story or plots to that show.
I just remember
that show, being a thing, and that's about it.
And the weird vacuum sucker thing.
Yeah, the pancakes look pretty dope. The pancakes look pretty dope. The smiley face pancakes.
I don't remember the pancakes.
Anyways, thanks for joining us here on the XP Podcast, an ambitious casual show. This is your bi-weekly casual podcast where we talk about all things video games and bring topics to the table to discuss for your amusement. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or topics that you want to bring to us to discuss here on the show, you can let us know over at Twitter at Ambitious Casual, or you can email us at xppodcast@ambitiouscasual.com. And by the way, if there is a certain part of the show that you just want to skip around to, because look, we all are busy. We don't have a lot of time in the day. Just use the time codes and skip to that point. But here's what I will say. If you skip anything, it's like skipping
breakfast.
There we go. Thank you. I literally trying to come up with something
every day.
I'm not a big breakfast guy either. Man, my brain literally just on that one. It just
left.
Fried. It just fried. We're going straight into the topics of the show, guys, here. We're gonna go based off of the topic that Austin had last week, but we ran out of time to do.
Oh, yes.
And so the topic is, and then Adams also piggybacks onto that, but we're going to start with Austin real quick. Yes. Are video games too easy with turn-by-turn directions? And then you put into parentheses, open world, quote, follow the trail, end quote, quests.
Follow the trail quests.
What is, can you expand a bit more on your idea of what that topic is?
Sure thing. Here's the thing. All right. I'm a lover of open world video games. It's so immersive and it's beautiful, and free will and all that good stuff. I love open world games. I just felt as I was playing a somewhat open world game that I did not have to think at all where I was supposed to go. All right, fine. I'll just say it. I was playing Outriders, and I know I talked smack about Outriders last week. I love the game, but literally you can hit tab or like up arrow on your D-pad, and it's like a trail. Like it just shows you exactly where to go. And it just made me think, man, I remember spending a long time just figuring out where I needed to go next. And I kind of miss that. Like, I feel like I'm just sort of on this repetitive cycle of follow the trail, shoot the enemies, kill the enemies, clear the field. All right, follow the trail again. And, it just felt very repetitive. So it pegged the question. Is this too easy? Like, why is this a thing? And it's not every video game. I think some games are really clever and how they are a little vague and on directions. And I do appreciate that. But, there are some games where you can open your map and, pin the quest marker on your world map and you just go. So is that taking away the discoverability of the game? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't really know, but I just felt it kind of, I don't know, it felt repetitive. It felt repetitive, and I was getting tired of it. I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. All I do is follow this little dot that flies around, and so that's where I'm at. That was my spiel on it. What do you guys think?
Adam, what in regards to, and before we get into the topic that piggybacks off of his, regarding you in follow the trail turn by turn, I kind of wrote down a couple of examples of games that did that. But before we go into that, I want to know what are your thoughts in regards to games that have that integrated into the mechanic. It's kind of like there's a reason sometimes for it. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a hard balance to strike, I think. I would say that open world games, just the concept of an open world game, I would say that's one of the most important things for them to try to like nail down, because linear games or even like Metroid style worlds don't suffer from that same thing, just because there's at least several funnels along the way that that you're going to go through. And I myself was kind of considering the games that have done it terribly or have done it well, and there was a game I thought of that kind of does it both very, very well and very terribly, and that it kind of gives you the options to not do it, but then it's so easy to fall into the trap of doing it. And it was The Witcher 3. So
interesting,
because you'll mark whatever quest or quest step you're doing, and it'll put it on the mini map, and it'll literally show the trail to it. But not only that, there's so many resources just littered all across the ground, all over the place in The Witcher, and it shows it on the map. And it's easier to see it on the map than it is to pick it out of the field just naturally. And then it's always showing the enemies on the map and like other points of interest on the mini map. And so I just fall in, because I want to collect everything, I want to see everything. I just automatically fall into the trap of I'm riding my horse, but I'm literally just looking at the mini map and the corner of the screen and not paying attention to anything that's happening on the screen, because the mini map is giving me all of that information already, and it just it's exhausting, especially like I said, if I'm trying to collect resources for some reason or another, because I just hoard all that stuff and like I need it, and that sucks. But that game also does some really cool stuff in terms of like NPCs when they're telling you where that you need to go, they are giving you directions. And if you actually look at the quest log, it's like those directions are listed. So it's like go down the path and take a left past the big white cherry tree or something like that. And that's really cool. Like that's a cool way of telling people how to navigate an open world. Like all that stuff is really great because then as you're traveling through, you're looking around at what's there. So like that's a game I have kind of mixed feelings on as far as how it does it. A couple of like my more favorable ones would be like Breath of the Wild, obviously, where you know, and I'll also say I'll bring them at the same time. So Breath of the Wild and then Ghost of Tsushima, because they make, you know, how do I put it? They make the guidance system an actual game mechanic versus it just being like a feature that's there. So for Zelda, you're opening your Sheikah slate, which is, you know, your handy dandy thing you take everywhere, and you're basically using the Sheikah slate to place like a marker that you can see all the way through the sky. And then so when you're trying to catch a reference on where you're going, you just can quickly like open that up, which is also like a good zoom feature, and be like, okay, where's that reference point that I'm trying to get to? Because the great thing about Breath of the Wild, it's like, yes, get distracted by all the awesome things that are in the world, or as little as you want. It doesn't matter because you can climb over anything anyway. So if you end up going all the way over there and now the mountain's in your path, you can still like trek across the mountain. And then of course, Ghost of Tsushima, it's like the wind is kind of like just pointing you in the general direction, and it's just like a quick, you know, flick up on the touchpad to kind of call it into action. So it's only there when you specifically ask for it, and then, you know, it's kind of like built into the game. Like the wind is guiding you on your quest. So like those are my favorable examples.
And what's so good about Ghost of Tsushima is the fact that it doesn't hit you over the head in regards to where you need to go. Because the wind just blows in the direction you need to go. It's not like here's a waypoint, boom, that's where it is. And there's been sometimes in open world games where I'm probably running or whatever, riding on a horse or whatever, open up the map. Where am I supposed to go? Okay, run again, open up the map. Okay, I'm almost there. Open up the map. Oh, I need to turn this direction. Okay, open up. Like it's constantly that. And I feel like that is not. I personally don't think it was you designed it perfectly if I have to completely always open up a map to do so. I should be able to either see it either through a mini map, or I know a lot of games nowadays, and I think this has been adopted thanks to battle royale games, is they have the above compass, and then sometimes if you have like a waypoint on a map, the above compass, if you turn in that direction, it will show that that's the direction you need to go to.
Sort of the Skyrim.
I was about to say, I'm sorry, popularized by battle royales. You heard it here. That's Rob.
Where did you see it from?
Skyrim.
Skyrim. Oh, I never played it. I never played that.
Yeah.
It's a God of War.
Canceled, boys. I've been canceled, boys. Here we go. It was a good run. It was a good run. In regards to follow the trail and stuff like that, I put down a couple of examples that I thought of. Adam hit on the nail. I even put Breath of the Wild as one to where you can follow your waypoint, but to an extent, you can go straight to the end in Breath of the Wild, which I want more games to kind of play around with because I love that idea. The fact that you can just go straight to the boss from the very beginning. But with Breath of the Wild, you can start. There's technically 4 main areas that you have to hit up so you can power up to get to where you know utilize and fight Ganon, but you can go out of them in any order that you want to. And so that's something that I enjoy about that. Another thing that I thought of is in Uncharted, and this is what Naughty Dog is really good at times, is if you are in an area, and especially once you get more into like the bigger areas, Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, if the game feels like you're taking a while to go into the direction that you need to go to, it assumes that you're lost. And so at the bottom of the screen, it'll say hit R3 to look in the direction that you need to go. And so you push it, and then the camera would, on its own, turn in the direction that you need to go to and be like, that's where you need to go. And that's fun. And I think that helps out at times. And I've needed to use it sometimes. Now, I feel like The Last of Us Part 2, which I love The Last of Us Part 2, one of my favorite games of all time. I feel
Mm,
like they use it a little too much. And
mm,
I feel like there's some moments where I literally just cleared out a room of people and I'm like, okay, I'm going to search around and look for ammo. But I barely just start searching and then it's like, here's the direction you need to go to. And I was like, oh,
mm,
come on, guys. Like, now I feel like I need to hurry up and keep going. Like, you're not
mm.
giving me the ability to just sit in this room and start searching. Even the fact that the game has trophies that you need to find collectibles. So even
Mm,
if I wanted
mhm,
to try and look for collectibles, I'm constantly being bogged over the head with, hey, push R3 to look in the direction you need to go to.
hmm, hmm.
And so sometimes I feel like that needs to find its own balance.
Yeah.
But then other games that I put is, and this is, I don't think this is a good example, but I thought of Forza. Forza is one of those
Uh-huh.
games where there is a constant arrow at all times where you need to go on the ground.
Yeah.
And no matter what, it's just constantly there. Now, that's a design decision for them to be like, okay, for you to utilize this racing game and just don't have to worry about what direction you need to go to, just worry about your skills and your
Hmm.
turns and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Here's
Weaving
something
and
to
all
show
that.
you constantly where to go.
Yeah.
Now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like if the team who makes Forza was good enough just through speaking through the environment as to what direction you need to go, they wouldn't need that, you know? So it's hard to
Mm,
say if like, do you really need that? Or is it lazy? I don't know. Like
mm.
Adam, do you think that's lazy or no?
I mean, in some sense of the word, it is.
Mhm.
I don't know. You pick a line on how important, how much value is placed on exploring the environment, seeing the
Yeah.
environment, and all those things. So
Yeah.
if as a development team, their goal is, this might not be the most, you know, explorative experience. This might not be
Hmm.
the most life sim type experience. We really are wanting you to be able to focus specifically on the skill set of something like driving. Yeah, that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. I want to rag on open world games more than anything, because so much of open world games is these big, massive,
Hmm.
sprawling environments,
Yeah.
and seeing all the cool things that are in them and the cool
Yeah.
scenery and landscape. Uh, which anytime you start doing that, what you're talking about, like putting the arrows on the ground, having a mini map, all that stuff
Yeah.
just takes away from you looking at the cool world that you're in.
Right,
I agree.
right.
And I mean, I think Red Dead Redemption does it really well because
Ooh, yes, 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 yes.
they listen, they have the path set before you and you can literally lock on to the path. Sort of. You can quasi
Oh,
lock
with
onto
the
the path.
horse.
Yes, you're holding down
Yes.
X or A or whatever. And however, they have the cinematic mode where you hold down the select or button or whatever, and the film borders come down and the what's that term, the ratio aspect ratio
Aspect
Aspect
changes,
ratio.
ratio
yeah,
is more cinematic.
and it makes it more cinematic like a western, and it's literally showing off the beauty of the world they created. So it's taking it is setting you on a course that you almost don't have to really control, but it is showing you the beautiful environment around you, and it's like this perfect mixture of both,
Yeah.
that's like, oh wow, I'm not looking at my mini map, I'm not looking at the line, I'm just looking at this mountain and this waterfall or whatever, and it's like it's amazing. So yeah, i
Hmm.
think i think you're right, Adam. It's about, what do the developers, what do they want you to see? What do they want you to focus on? Um, I mean, if it were my game, I feel like I would want the audience to focus more on the environment around you that they created rather than waypoints on a map. So I
Hmm.
think
Yeah.
I think Red Dead Rockstar does that really well, with the whole cinematic view when traveling.
When it works. I will
Hmm.
say there has been some moments when it doesn't work. There's been
Oh,
some moments
sure.
where I'm like, I'm riding And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, put the controller down. Dude, this is so cool. Like,
Nice.
stupid horse. Come on, get back on the trail.
You
Like,
walk
it's
off
all-
a cliff. Like, no! You have to get a new horse.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not perfect, but I do enjoy the fact that Rockstar felt that they were like, hey, check this out. And when
Yeah.
it works, it is beautiful. Especially when
Yeah.
you're in open areas and you're just constant and you're just going across the plains, it's perfect. It's gonna work
Ugh,
perfectly.
I love
Now, if
it.
you're up on these like the side of a mountain, it's not gonna probably work the best.
No,
But
you gotta
That
focus.
is a very, very good. That's a very, very good point. Adam, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I would like.
Adam, you're
You know,
Adam,
I
real
was
quick,
going to say-
you sound like a robot.
You sound like a droid. Roger, Roger.
Well, theoretically, it should be recording on my end just fine. Theoretically.
Yeah, you should be fine.
Okay,
Um,
all right, you're good. You're good. You're good.
So what I was going to say is options
There
are
it is.
great, right? So Zelda, just normal mode, minimap is on. I highly recommend people to do like the advanced or whatever mode that scales back the HUD and takes the minimap off, because to me that's just a much
Yeah.
better way to play that game.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the game would ask you up front, just like they ask you lots of other things about your gameplay
Yes.
experience. What difficulty do you want? What kind of do you want to prioritize, frame rate or resolution? Especially for open world games, like ask people, do you want immersive or do you want, not there's probably another word for it, but handholdy. So
Yeah.
just
Beginner.
ask, because those options should be in the game,
Yeah.
because for lots of accessibility reasons, whether it's just like needing the help to finish the game or there are actual accessibility other accessibility issues that like you need, like that stuff should be in there in some form or fashion. It's just kind of make it clear
Yeah.
to the player that there is a trade-off
Yeah.
by defaulting to some of this other stuff.
Maybe I just need to lay off of the upper D-pad button. Resist the temptation of the guide and just find my way.
But what's
Perhaps
interesting
that's
about
the way to do it.
what's interesting about that though is, I mean, and I know you've even brought this up on the last episode, talking about and everyone's like this. I'm even like this. We don't always have a lot of time to play games.
That's
So
true.
that means you don't have a lot of time to just roam and discover.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I got an hour and a half. I don't got time to just start roaming around. Hey, upper D-pad, boom, take me where I need to go so I can just get into the fun and just, get what I need to get.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Adam, I agree with what you're saying in regards to accessibility. A lot of these are accessibility things. And
True.
sometimes it also is part of QA at times. Now, QA, they test the games and they get the feedback to say, maybe you should change this, maybe you should change that. In regards to Outriders, which is something that we've talked about already a couple times, a lot of things that they've done within that game were due to what did I literally just say right now? What was the word?
QA.
Thank you. Due to QA. The whole cutscene. Like after 5 seconds is a cutscene that was due to QA telling them, hey, I didn't know where I was going. That's because you're fast forwarding characters that are behind you, but you're already progressing, helping out in those directions. And so sometimes it's due to QA where they're like, hey, I don't know where to go. This you did not design this game well enough to help me go where I need to go. And at that moment, the developer has to be like, okay, do we put in more money to figure out how to get this game to read better through environments? Or do we just look, we are running out of time, just boom, help them out with waypoints, helping them out with this. And you have to make sacrifices sometimes with that. You can't always be a Naughty Dog that, honestly, if Sony would probably let them delay it who knows how many times just so they can make the game perfect, and not to say that they have free roam, but not everyone has that luxury to do that. And so especially when you get smaller and smaller in regards to teams, I know like the game Biomutant that came out was made by 20 people. And so that sometimes you have to make sacrifices in certain areas in that regard. Also, with Austin, with Outriders, it seems like Outriders plays not like an open world game, but more
Yeah.
like point by point,
It's
almost
a little
like
more linear. Yeah.
thank you. That's what it is. It plays more like a linear game.
Yeah.
Like the OG Metal Gear Solids, you just go in one direction and then that you're good. Or like Spyro or whatever. Like it's more simplified in that way. And
Mm.
so I feel like, you know, it works in certain instances and it works in none other instances. You know, it works in, for instance, Forza part because they just wanted to focus more so on just the beauty of how the game feels and you turning around corners and you driving. It doesn't work too well in The Last of Us 2 when they're constantly telling you, hey, go in this direction, when I'm like, hey, I just want to explore this area. And so I think that's where a lot of that goes into. Now I want to piggyback now into what Adam's topic was going into this. Yours was discoverability. I know
Yeah.
you sent us an article had to do a lot about this. I went through it real quick a couple hours ago. But can you expand a bit more where you were coming from regarding discoverability in games?
Yeah, so I guess I would start off saying, not that I'm an expert in it by any means, but I have some interest in user experience design, or you'll see it listed as UX design. And so there's several concepts in, design, specifically UX, about how you design things in a way that is both clean design and also good for the end user. And so discoverability is one of those things. And it ties in with some of the other concepts too. But, in a sense, it's how well can a feature be discovered? How easy is it for a user to find their way around the systems and locate features? And overall, I mean, that's very vague just to put it out there, but there's this is all over video games. How easy is it for someone to discover that something can be done or should be done? I think of, and this will also get into another topic, but, God of War, and we're talking so much about navigation, right?
Yeah.
So God of War, when you're going through these environments, it very consistently labels geography that can be climbed or navigated under or around by kind of doing these faint yellow glyphs or symbols or runes kind of etched into the stuff, right? And so a lot of games do that. They try to find ways to draw the player's eye to where they're supposed to go without blatantly telling them, door this direction 15 feet. So there's lots of ways to go about it. And open worlds especially, you should be using your geography and having interesting geography that does draw interest and does draw the eye of people. There's Breath of the Wild is almost famous for that. It's like, that's a weird looking tree, let me go over there. Oh, there's a Korok. So got a little collectible thing. Or that's the tallest mountain, surely there's something up there.
Right.
So there's stuff like that. Another concept is what's called affordance or affordances. So basically it's just something that it's like an attribute that denotes how it's supposed to be used or if it's supposed to be used. So a famous idea of this is like the design of doors.
Yes.
It made me think, there's that article how many ever weeks or months ago at this point about how famously in video games, doors are actually some of the trickier things to design. But it's true in real life.
Which is weird.
How many times have you seen someone or have you yourself pulled when it was supposed to be pushed or pushed when it was supposed to be pulled? And they're just not always greatly designed for something that's as simple as a door. So a common affordance is that if it's the push side, there's not a handle. There's kind of that silver plate that is supposed to indicate that this is a push while the other side has a handle. Right. And so specifically, they would say it's bad design if you have to label the sides of your door with the words pull and push. That means you failed to design your door in a way that was discoverable and had affordances that showed the user or signal to the user how they're supposed to interact with this thing. Um, So like once you start going down that rabbit hole, you can really see all the ways in video games where that stuff's done well or that stuff has not been done well. You know, how many
Yeah.
tutorials does a game have to walk you through in order for you to know what you're doing? So like a cool thing I think about God of War is that, and I don't know if there's like an actual menu for like combos or stuff like that, but you know, it's hard to remember all the different button combinations I could do to do like,
Yes.
okay, so I got a precision axe throw, so now if I throw another axe throw, it's like beefed up, or you know, after I dodge forward and press this button, then I do this type of action versus like there's so many different ways, but you unlock those slowly over time. And so I'm often going back to the skill menu because I'm like, I know I unlocked stuff. What did I unlock? And then I'm going through it, and then it's reminding me of all the stuff I unlocked and like has videos and stuff for it. So I don't know if that's necessarily a great example of discoverability, but that's like an instance where you can think of it. It's like I often have to reference a menu to remember all the different things that I can do. But at least it's not some archaic combo list. Like if you think of like I just think back of like Soul Calibur 2 and just like trying to think through all the different like ridiculous combinations and then having to jump out to test them. And Tony Hawk too, like doing all the different types of moves. It's like who other than, you know, someone that has excessive free time, what normal adults maybe have the time to try to go through and learn all that stuff? At least with God of War, it's like simple enough to kind of remember those. And then, of course, as you use them more and more, you're going to remember them better. So, like, you know, in design, that would be considered like over time you become an expert user. And so it's you've overcome any of those hurdles of discoverability because you've just been using it long enough where you're like, oh no, this is how it works. So another example of that, and I'm just going forever, but another example of that is 3D camera controls, right? So often in design, you rely on what they'll call people's mental models. So just how they imagine things interact in their mind. So if there's something that you can design that could take advantage of pre-existing notions of how something should work, do that, because then people will inherently know what they're supposed to do. So any 3D, you know, game, you know, your left stick is move and your right stick is, you know, moving the camera, and you don't see people deviating from that. But the problem is if this is your first game that does that, getting used to that is extremely hard. Which is why it's so hard for lots of people to get into video games like that, and often have to start in a game that's more of a fixed camera type scenario. So
and I think what's interesting about that is there's some that do it well. One, I love Dead Cells, roguelike. There's like a level to where you need to utilize this power to ground pound, and then you can break the floor and you can go underneath it. You don't have that power right away. And I remember when I would walk over an area that you can do that, you would walk and then you would but you would see like just the rubble underneath it just jiggle a little bit. And then I'd be like, I know there's something with that, but I can't do anything right now. But I'll come back later.
I had
and
that.
Then once you unlock it, you get there, you know, and that's great. And I think some places that don't do it too well is like the medium. I remember there was this one instance where I was in a room trying to look for some piece of paper. And I remember, and actually I've heard a lot of other people also agree, like say about the same thing in this exact same spot. I went in and out of the room so many times, like, where is this piece of paper? And I'm like, oh, it was on the floor. Why couldn't you help me? You know, like, why couldn't the game be like, hey, it's right there? And it had like a bit of a sheen over it. Like it would glow a little bit, but the lighting of the room did not help it out in that regard. It kind of blended in with everything that was casting a shadow off the bed that caused that little area to be so dark. but it was like a little bit of like a moonlight room to where it's kind of blend. It was horrible in that sense. And
Oh.
so, you know, games with discoverability are so cool, dude. And when they're done right, it
Mm.
lends to it.
It
Metroid is
does.
one of them. I love Metroid so much. I know that the money doesn't speak, but I wish Metroid came out almost every other year because I
Mm.
love that series so much.
Yeah.
And the discoverability about that game is the fact that you go up to a door. Why can't I open in this door? I will figure it out later. I'll go complete or try to go where I think I need to go because it doesn't tell you where you need to go. Oh, I unlocked this weapon. Does this open a door? Yes, because the game is smart enough to automatically put a door in front of you, or like you're gonna come across that door very soon. That's gonna show that you utilize this new weapon not only to attack but to open these certain doors. Boom. Okay,
Mm.
I know this opens these doors. Now let me keep going. And you
Yeah.
got that with things like Hollow Knight. You got that with things like Dark Souls. And Dark Souls in regards to, you know, not turn by turn directions. You kind of jump in and you're kind of like, where do I go? I remember
Mm.
finding myself in certain areas being like, wait, this connected me all the way back to this spot. Like
Mhm.
I was right there the whole time, but I couldn't
Mhm.
access it from this direction. Like that's what's so cool about it, you know? And so
Yeah.
discoverability is such
Yeah.
a huge aspect
so
in regards to
important.
games if they work
Yeah.
well. Austin, do you have anything to say in regards to discoverability?
Oh, back to affordance and all the controls written down. We were talking about Tony Hawk. You know who's really good at the Tony
Ooh.
Hawk Pro Skater games?
You better
Is
watch out because I want to face him.
it's Tony Hawk himself.
Yeah.
He is so good at those games. So they recently re-released the Pro Skater 1 and 2 like on Epic Games.
Yeah.
And they're releasing it on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
And so when it came out, when it dropped, Nick Merckx, the famous Twitch streamer,
Love him.
played with Tony Hawk.
I remember that.
And it was so funny because I was watching Nick before his session with Tony Hawk, and he was in Warzone with like Tim the Tatman and all the, you know, their whole crew. And he's like, man, I'm gonna school Tony Hawk in his own game. Like, there's no way no cap. I'm gonna destroy him. And they're like, I don't know, man. Like, how are you so certain? And he's like, dude, he's a skateboarder. Like, he's talking all this smack, and he shows up to this game and like is first of all like terrible, and Tony Hawk is just like going in circles around him, like, yeah, you know, you can do this and fly over here, and he's just like hitting all these grinds and doing all these tricks, but is like super low key about it because I'm pretty sure that like Tony Hawk, that was really the only game he played when it came out way back in the day. And that's probably really the only game he ever played, period. So like, it was so funny to watch how like Tony Hawk was, first of all, incredible at his own game and just schooling this Twitch streamer. And he knew all these combinations and all these crazy moves. But yeah, it just made me think
what's
of
so
Tony
cool
Hawk.
about Tony Hawk is the fact that there's also discoverability in Tony Hawk. Do you ever like when you broke through the glass and you're like, oh my God, I can do that? I can come to the other side and I can skate on this whole other side of the warehouse. Like, that's so cool. And real quick, in regards to the whole Nick Merckx thing, I think what was funny is the fact that they're trying to set up a private match. And even Tony Hawk was like, oh, you can't do that? And Nick Merckx was like, no, man, I don't think you can do that. It's just that funny disconnect between Tony Hawk and his own game being like, oh, I didn't know we didn't set that up within my own game.
I didn't know that.
Pull my name.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, I might have to talk to the developers about this one, guys.
Yeah, they like couldn't do a custom match where it's just like them two. Like they could only do like online matches with randoms. Yeah, that was so funny. That was fun to watch.
Mm.
Yeah. Adam, you look like you wanted to add something a while back.
Yeah, I have hopefully a quick wrap-up thought on the whole map discussion.
No,
My favorite games are the ones who make navigation a major feature of the game. So you know, lots of things that we've talked about, it's kind of like the map is there to help you navigate this world because it's open world, there's lots of things, we know that you're going to need to remember stuff, but when games like make the map a signature feature of the game, it's awesome. Jedi Fallen Order did a mostly great job, but it gets a little out of hand. I like it a lot, but it is a little hefty.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dark Souls, no map. You need to know.
Yes.
You need to remember, and that's part of the game. And I love it. I think it's great. And then the other one I would talk about is actually Hollow Knight. So Hollow Knight's such an interesting one because you often have to make resource decisions on whether you want to prioritize map use or not. So, you have to buy the map. You have to buy sections of the map at a time throughout the game. If you want to know where on the map you are, you have to spend a charm slot, which is pretty valuable to be able to do that. And it's just really cool because you fill out the map. You have to buy a map section, and then as you go about, it's not filling out your map then, but once you sit and rest, your character has the chance to map out everything that they did, and then you know where stuff, like where the rooms, how they connect and stuff like that is. And it's just so quick to access. It's just like you hold down the button and it overlays over your screen, and then it's gone. You're not navigating the menus to get to that. It's just a major feature. And your character, like, you can still move him, but you can't, like, it's slower and you have limited actions while you're doing it. So it's like he's kind of, in a way, it's like he's looking at the map and he's like, oh my gosh, running around because whatever reason. But you can like look at the map in the middle of combat for if you really wanted to, and still try to walk around. So,
and that's what I loved about Hollow Knight is there will be moments where I'm in this new area and I know this is a completely new area, and I'm traversing and I'm like, I've been through this so long. I just need to find a bench so I can sit down because I need to know where am I. Like I need to find out where I'm at. And if you died, well, then you have to go through that all over again, And so, or you also need to buy the piece to the map to figure out where you're at, and then you need to sit down to track everywhere that you were within that area. And so, I love that whole aspect in regards to Hollow Knight. It works out really, really well.
Yeah, it's such a relief when you start. I don't know what anatomy part it is, but the map guy, he kind of leaves these little things trailing near him, and then you can also like
hear, like pieces of paper.
Is it pieces of paper? Okay. And then you could also kind of hear him humming to himself once you start getting really close, and like that's just so cool. Like make it a part of the game.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's so good. All right, guys. Do you guys have anything else to add in regards to navigation and discoverability in video games before we head off of these topics?
I think
I have a funny story, but we can move forward if we need to.
No, Adam.
Go for it.
We need to hear the story.
It's not my story. I'm ripping this from Brian Altano, who was talking about it on IGN's podcast Beyond. So Resident Evil 8, recently came out, and he's been playing that.
Village.
All throughout the Resident Evil series, anytime you've come across a locked door, you need to go find a key, find a pair of bolt cutters, something like that. It's like that has been what Resident Evil has taught its players to do and to expect. Yeah. And then there's just, he came across the door in 8, and he's like, where? I don't know how I'm supposed to get past this. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal. There's nothing that, I haven't found anything that lets me get this. And this is just a door, like a lock you can just shoot. You can just shoot it open. That's never been in any Resident Evil game ever. Boom! How are any of the players supposed to know that that's how you're supposed to do that? And it's nuts. It's like, who made that? Like, I don't know. You've taught your players one thing, and now you've like flipped the script on them without making it easy to figure that out.
Was he talking about it in a sense of like a bit of an annoyance, or almost like that's clever?
I don't think he found that to be clever.
Really, I remember I was listening to some other people that when they came across that, they're like, oh, that was clever in the sense of we've known how to do this in your games for how many years, and this one time you switch it, and it's almost like, man, you've come up with so many games, and you're like, this is the one to switch it. That's funny. That's kind of clever in that sense that you do that.
Yeah.
Philosophically, it's bad design.
I totally get it. Absolutely. I totally get that.
Shoot the door.
All right, guys, we are moving on from topics of the show. Remember, those who are listening, you can leave us your topic suggestions in the comments of the video, or you can tweet at us at Ambitious Casual. So moving on, guys, we're going into what we have been playing. I'm going to start with Austin. Austin, I know that when we were getting ready to do the podcast, you've been busy. We all have our busy weeks. So do you want to touch a bit on anything that you either played a little bit or something that's grabbed your attention regarding video games within the past 2 weeks?
I'd love to. So yes, haven't played a lot since the last podcast. I put a little bit of time into Destiny, and for the Destiny fans out there, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, because the new DLC expansion came out. No, I'm still at the beginning of the game. All right, not even thinking about that. I'm still in the Cosmodrome, shooting the Fallen and the Hive, and hopping around. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. And honestly, I was just like, I have some time. I'm gonna hop on, and I was playing on Stadia. Here,
sweet.
How in the office. Great. Yeah, it runs great in the office because I'm hardwired into my router. Nice. So I never have any issues playing Stadia. It's just like on my mobile device when I'm fully wireless. That's usually when I personally have hiccups. But yeah, it was good. It was fun. Destiny 2 is just like one of those games I can always fall back on. It's somewhat simple. And it's easy entry, easy access, and I enjoy it. So really, that's like all I really played. There's some cool titles though that are dropping for Stadia. One of them being the Blue Knight or Blue
Fire.
Blue Fire. I was thinking of Hollow Knight. Blue Fire coming to Google Stadia. I'm super stoked to try that. I've always wanted to play that game.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to be diving into that, exploring on that. Gonna probably play that both mobile and on the desktop, mobile with the backbone.
Stadia Pro, correct?
Yeah, I'm a pro. I think I still got my free months. I think this is my last free month of pro, and I'm probably going to continue for a few more months and with pro. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing that a lot, and I'm super excited about it. But yeah, this last week was just sort of. I just didn't play. I had my anniversary this past week with my wife, so that was awesome.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, 4 years. Woo! Nice. 4 years. Nice. They flew by. But no, it was a good week. It was a good time. But nice. Yeah, looking forward to kind of getting. Also, I've sort of been playing around with. I bought a MIDI keyboard as well. Got a nice MIDI keyboard hooked up to my computer, and I've been playing with beats and sounds and stuff like that. So a whole other video game, learning a DAW, Ableton. It's a really complicated video game, but I'm learning it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
All right, Adam, what have you been playing, my friend?
I've been in and out a lot of stuff. I will say I did play an online game of Super Mario Party last week with a couple of my sisters, my wife. So
how'd that go?
It overall went well. There was some slight hiccups in connection. It was just frame slowdown basically, but it never happened during a mini game. It was always just like when people were walking around the board. But other than that, it worked great. I didn't use the Nintendo Switch online app. We just talked over FaceTime.
Yeah, FaceTime. Why would you do that?
So dumb.
How dare you? How dare you?
Same thing. It's funny. It's been probably I don't know, maybe it's been a couple years, at least a year since I've played a game of Mario Party. And the two boards I rotate between still feel like, I don't know, like worn out.
Are you trying to say we need a new Mario Party now?
No, we just need more boards. Give us more boards.
More boards.
Real quick, talking in regards to Switch, I want to touch on something real fast. Did you see the new image that Nintendo released today about the number of games that they have on their Nintendo Online store? Or not Nintendo Online.
Yeah.
And you know how you get the classic games. They just released a couple extra more games, but in total, they have 100 games
Yeah.
on the Nintendo Online. And
Oh,
when
wow.
you see it in that perspective, that is a deal, man. With all those classic games, I know at first everyone was kind of like, is it kind of worth it? But
Yeah.
after how many years have we been with the Switch now? Almost 3-4 years.
Yeah.
It's like really paying off in regards to 100 games
Yeah.
of 100 classic games, solid classic games on Nintendo Online. So if you are not an online subscriber, I feel like check out what games that they have, but I feel like it's really worth it. It is
Yeah.
really worth it.
I mean, yeah, it's the cheapest of all of the. I mean, by far, but you're
It's
probably
like $5.
$5. Yes.
$5.
A
I
year,
don't know.
isn't it?
It's $20 for a year, but if you're doing a
Oh,
family
okay.
membership, you can split up to 7 people, so it's $5 for a year if you max that thing out. $5 per person
Whoa.
Yes.
for a year if you
Yes.
max that
Wow.
out. I mean, their online service is the worst because it's just like the least funded,
Right.
least prioritized. But if you're going to
Right.
play stuff online that needs it on your Switch anyway, there are lots of fantastic old games. I've personally played A
What?
Link to the Past on there. I have
Yes.
played Super Metroid. I have played Super Mario All Stars, the 2D version.
They have Kirby. They have a lot of great
There's
options
lots
on
of
there.
great
Yeah.
stuff in there. If you didn't have a
thought-
Super Nintendo growing up, there are a lot of great games you need to go play.
I thought
Yeah.
they were gonna update this service with Monster Hunter Rise. I thought that's what I was hearing. That like in the release of Monster Hunter Rise, they were gonna release a certain type of technology.
Yeah,
with
it's like a new
Nintendo.
infrastructure. It's
Yeah.
it's not like
yes.
it's not like the service or anything like that, like
Oh.
the Nintendo Switch Online, like the paid subscription service, but it's the actual infrastructure they use for like online play.
Oh,
As a matter of
okay.
fact, Adam and I talked about that like 4 episodes ago about
Ah.
the online infrastructure of them updating it,
Yeah.
which is a great episode. Go check it out.
Is that
Check
the
it out.
one after Sunny Cloud Gaming episode?
I think it was after. Yes, it was after Sunny Cloud Gaming.
Mm,
Don't remember what number that was, but
wasn't there.
anyways,
What
yeah.
level?
So, anyways, Nintendo Online, great,
Level.
great stuff. Don't use it for the online stuff, but
No.
it for the classic games is awesome. It is really really cool. So, all right, Adam, you've been playing a couple other games. What have you been playing?
Yeah. I continue to play God of War. It continues to be fantastic. It's
Mm.
even getting
As it should be.
better and better as I play it.
Yes,
So
yes.
it just slow burn. It's really going, and it's probably going to be my favorite game. Just
Wow.
flat out. I
He said it,
imagine by the time
everyone.
I beat it.
You hear it here first, y'all.
Here first, folks.
God of
Yeah,
War, a pretty good game.
It's
Pretty
got
good
all the
game.
stuff I love. It's got some pretty good narrative. It's got fantastic feeling gameplay. It's got, without having a bunch of grinding, it's just naturally
Mhm.
you're getting way enough XP and currency to get the stuff you need. It's got kind of that Metroid style traversal, right? So kind of linear areas that back over each other quite a bit, but it still has that open world hub, which is really cool. And I feel like there's something else. Collectibles, right? Lots of cool
Yes.
collectibles.
Yes.
Finding the birds. Odin's like birds that are like these very translucent kind of looking crows that
Yeah.
you just, and it takes some skill to like kill them because you got to throw your axe at them.
Yeah.
And they're often a challenge to find, so it's really cool when like, oh yeah, I see it. And then just, I don't know, it's just a fun game.
Nice.
So I've been playing that. I've also been playing a little bit of Jack and Daxter. So I haven't played this game since I first played it on the PlayStation 2 when I was 10 or about then. So
That's awesome.
I mean,
I'm sorry. How are you playing it?
they re-released it as a collection, I think on PS3 originally, but then that collection made it to PS4. So I bought it
Wow.
digitally on sale for.
Oh.
So I have
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and the racing game, but I probably won't play the racing game. So
yeah.
Interesting.
going back, gonna beat it. I think I don't remember if I shared here, but I had like a Game Shark type thing, and so my Jack and
Oh,
Daxter
yeah, yeah.
save file was on the Game Shark memory card. There weren't any cheats for Jack and
Wow.
Daxter, or not that I can figure out. So,
Yeah.
but that memory card corrupted right as I was opening the precursor door at the very end. So I never saw the ending for getting all of the power cells, which is the main collectible.
YouTube
so I'm
it.
going to do that. I'm going to no. I'm going to do it. I'm going to platinum it. Obviously, old game is old, but it's still fun.
Yeah, how's it play? Like you're going between God of War and Jack and Daxter. Not that they're identical to each other, but how's it playing
No,
the
they're
game?
the same.
I prefer to play Jack and Daxter on my phone with the backbone and PS4
Nice.
remote play because it looks terrible on my nice 55-inch screen. It looks awful. Very grainy and stuff like that, which is, I mean, this is HD TV. That game was made for components. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Sweet.
Handles fairly well. So
how's Cyber Shadow going for you?
I'm still pretty early in that one, so not a lot to talk about. It's very tough, but I'm enjoying the challenge of it so far. So
yeah, cool. And the last campfire, any updates on that?
Just it's getting better over time, so I would highly recommend for anyone with iPhone. So I was actually talking to a friend coworker yesterday. Like, look, you need to subscribe to Apple Arcade just for a month, give it a try, and play Monument Valley, play The Last Campfire, and I feel like I mentioned Cozy Grove as an option for them too, just based off of what they like to play. Like, just try them out. Like, Monument Valley is probably the best mobile game
I need to
you can play, in my opinion.
I need to play
it.
There's a lot of great games on arcade. I think, like spending $5, just spending a month exploring all the different games, you could put a lot of hours in ton of those games. I think it's it's a good deal right now. It used to, there used to not be a lot, but now there's a lot of good indie classic titles on the arcade. I would highly recommend it.
And even not on arcade, like you can drop $5 on lots of great games, or drop $10. So I think Fez is like $5 on mobile. Hyper Light Drifter I think was like 6 or 7. Dead Cells was like 8 or 9. So that like there's stuff not on arcade that's also really good. Swords of Ditto's on there. I know I didn't give it the most stunning review when we talked about it, Rob. But I mean, there's still lots of people who enjoy the game, so I mean that stuff's out there.
Nice. Now what I've been playing, what is it, 5707? Gotta get these time codes in, boys. All right, what I've been playing, Judgment. I have nothing much to say in regards to it. I'm still in the progress of playing it, so I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I've kind of I'm not putting it to the side at all. I'm still playing it, but on Saturday was my day off, and it's rare when I get one of those days where I'm like, I have nothing to do today, so today is the day to game. That day is for the boys and that boy. And so
me, myself, and I.
Exactly. Vanessa was out with her friend, and so that day I was like, I can do what I want to do. And so for some reason, I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why. There was a recent video that came out of the developers of Final Fantasy 14 Online, kind of talking to the fans, to having a conference about everything going on with regards to the game, how it's come along, where it's been, and how everyone is getting ready for the new expansion, which is Endwalker, to happen. And there was a very emotional moment of one of the developers talking about how he had cancer and how him being able to build this game and work on this game during that time helped him, and how in his mind he just thought to himself, I need to help other people, because I know that this game has helped people in their life wherever they've been. This game has helped people. And so because of that humanness in that, I was like, you know what, I want to jump in. I want to try this out. And it's kind of grabbed my attention. I will say MMOs, they intimidate me a lot. I've never tried WoW. I remember jumping into ESO, which is Elder Scrolls Online, for a little bit, and just being in there, and with so much stuff going on, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And so I haven't tried it at all. And so this one, I was like, you know what? Let me sit down. Let me give it a try. Let me see what's going on. The developers seem like really, really genuine people. I know Final Fantasy 16, which is coming out soon, is made by this team. And I was like, let me give it a shot. I jumped in, took a lot of time in regards to creating my own character. and did all the beginning things, and I got hooked automatically. I'm really enjoying it.
Nice.
I'm just right now, it's a bunch of fetch quests, and I've been watching a bunch of videos on YouTube about how to go about playing this game. And everyone has said, and this is how the game started off, the game did not start off well. It actually had a very rough start. But everyone says once you get past, the first part of the game and you start getting into the expansions, which is Heaven's Sword, Heaven's Ward, and I forgot the names after
Shadowbringer.
Shadowbringer, thank you.
I only
once you get into those, what was that? What was that?
I only know that because of like the billion commercials they played of it with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Tom Holland.
Absolutely, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so everyone says once you get into that, the game really, really like opens up. And so far, I'm not having a problem with the fetch quest. To me, I'm kind of like, okay, cool. I'm getting comfortable. I'm getting to learn this game. And the idea for me that, oh, it's going to get even better later on actually is helping me push through. I know for some people, it's not like, oh, it's going to get good on hour 5. People are like, I don't have enough time to get to that, But to me, for some reason with this, I'm like, hey, I really don't need to really pay attention to what I'm doing. Does that make sense? Because I'm not having to do combos or before the haters come at me, I know there's certain combos in regards to how you can do things. I get that, but it's not like I'm playing God of War. I need to look at what's going on with the story at all times or listen to this dialogue. It's very casual in a sense of where like I can literally play this and my wife can be talking to me about her day. Easy. It's not like I have to give this all my thought in the moment, And so I've been really enjoying it. The problem is this: I've been locked out of my account for the past 2 days. I brought my PS5 upstairs. I even went as far as to plugging in a keyboard and a mouse to it because I want to play this with keyboard and mouse, just because of the fact that with the way that it's set up, it's going to be a pain in the butt trying to access all these menus through a controller. And so I was like, look, I want to play this on my monitor. I have my everything hooked up. I tried logging in. I was like, what's my password? I tried figuring that out, and then it just locked me out. And so now it's been 2 days. I'm trying to get in contact with support. I might have to just make an entire new account all over again, which kind of sucks, but I'll deal with it. It's not that big of a deal. So within those 2 days, I've just not been able to play it at all. I have been playing a game called Knockout City. It is right now it's on like a free trial as of right now. I don't know if that's forever. I think it's free trial right now during this moment that they call Block Party. And so people can jump in at this moment and it's free to play. And then I think when that's done, you're gonna have to pay for the game, which honestly is it's a very clever thing because of the fact that it will work. You jump in free of charge, and if you like it, you can stay on, pay what you need to, and then continue playing the game. The game is super fun. It's a 3v3 kind of game. I've honestly have been finding myself really, really enjoying it a lot.
Good.
Nice.
And so I recommend it. So far in the game, I'm at level 10. Last night I found myself in a moment where 2 of my teammates dipped on me, and so it was only me versus 2 guys. Guess who won? Me, boys. I completely wiped that team clean, dude. And so it's just there's this level 2 where I can jump in, and I'm sure you get to a point where some people will figure out the meta, and then it won't be fun anymore.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I feel like anyone can jump in and anyone can kind of get good, It's not like Apex where you go in, headshot, you're dead, round is completely over, With this, it's like, okay, it's like Overwatch. You jump in, you die, you get rebooted back into the spot, you keep going, you keep going. So it's really good. I highly recommend it. I think it's on almost every platform, and it's cross progression, cross save, cross play. It is, and it's running smoothly. It's like the perfect release so far. So Knockout City, check it out. I recommend you guys go play that game. All right. And that is everything in regards to the show, what we've been playing, guys. I wanted to end this episode. We're in hour 3. This is going to go by real fast. Games releasing soon. I kind of picked some of the games that I thought might pique our interest, but if not, you don't have to say anything about it. These are games that are coming out within the next 2 weeks up to our next recording date. So starting off, I have Oddworld Collection, which is coming out on Switch May 27th. That's something you guys can look forward to. I know they just came out with Oddworld Soulstorm, which is for free on PlayStation through PlayStation Plus. So this is like all the games before it. So we got that coming out on the Switch. We have Wonder Boy, Asha in the Monster World. This is coming to PS4, Switch, PC on May 28th. We have World's End Club, which is coming to Switch on May 28th. We have Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which is coming on PS4, Xbox One, PC on June 1st. We have Elder Scrolls Online, Gates of Oblivion, coming to Stadia PC June 1st. And then on top of that, Elder Scrolls Online is also coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. I'm pretty sure that's optimized for those consoles on June 8th. So we got those coming out. I didn't even know Elder Scrolls Online was on Stadia. That's pretty cool.
It is. I played it.
Was it running cool? How would a game like that
cool.
run on Stadia? Was it running well for you? As the fact that a game that's an MMO via the internet and that is also being beamed to you on your did it work well?
Yeah, honestly, it was surprisingly, it worked really well. I don't understand how the Wi-Fi strength works in my house, but there was one Saturday where I spent like 2 hours playing on my phone with a Backbone controller, and I was just laying in bed, and I spent like 2 hours in the game and Elder Scrolls Online, and I loved it. Like I loved it more than Skyrim. Like I was really into it. I kind of want to get back into it actually, but yeah, I liked it.
Sweet. Following that, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade coming to PS5 on June 10th. I'm very excited for this. I for some reason, because of Final Fantasy 14, I'm on this Final Fantasy kick so far. I'm very excited for 16. What's funny is I noticed that on PlayStation Plus collection, you get Final Fantasy 15 on there, and it comes with everything. Wow. And so you know what I did last night when I couldn't play Final Fantasy 14? I downloaded everything for Final Fantasy 15, and it's right there ready for me whenever I want to jump on. And so I'm ready for that. And then Final Fantasy 7 Remake Integrated, which is optimized for the PS5. It's not like you're playing the PS4 version on the PS5. It is optimized for PS5, coming out on June 10th. Very excited. I will be jumping onto that because I loved it. I mean, I like the way it looks. Everything about it. I've heard great things about it. It's reviewed well, but by the time I got my PS5, I literally told myself I'm gonna wait for the version that's for the PS5, and guess what? They did, and the DLC for it can only be used or only played on Intergrade. You can't buy the DLC and add it upon the original version, which kind of sucks a bit, but that's how it goes.
It does, because they gave away Final Fantasy VII Remake as a PS Plus game in March.
They did.
And
how dare they?
I mean, I'll probably play that one at some point, so I'll just watch someone's
Is that not
YouTube
weird?
recording of the DLC. I don't know, because didn't they lock the PS5 performance stuff behind Intergrade 2? Like, there's not I don't think there's a PS5 patch for the normal version, and that's
correct.
It's stupid.
Oh, they're trying to nickel and dime you.
Yeah.
They didn't get a single nickel or dime from me.
And what's funny is
that play for free.
And I don't know what they're gonna call it, but Final Fantasy VII Part 2, I guess, picks up right after Intergrade. So it sucks if you're the person that's like, man, I can't buy the game right now, but they have 7 on PS Plus. Okay, I'll play that. And then you're like, oh, I can't play the DLC unless I buy the full remake Intergrade. Like, that's kind of backwards. I just don't understand how they thought that was smart.
I will not be buying Intergrade.
Wow. If you're taking a stance.
If they wanted to charge, I don't know, $10, $5 for the DLC plus performance improvements to add on to the Final Fantasy VII Remake I already have, then I would pay that probably.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay $70.
Yeah,
for Intergrade?
God.
Is that what it
no,
is?
no. $60.
$60? No, I'm not going to pay that.
No.
Oh boy. Well, and lastly, guys, on June 10th, we're going to get the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. I will say, out of all those, it'd probably be best to buy on PC or Xbox One, because when you buy an Xbox One game on the Xbox Series X, it's going to be optimized for that console, because Microsoft is just smart that way. I love Ninja Gaiden. Am I going to get this? Probably not, but I love Ninja Gaiden. It is amazing. That is like the Dark Souls before Dark Souls. It was just that really, really tough, hard game. So if you guys are into that, it's right there. Anyways, thanks for watching the show, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been the XP Podcast Level 10. And it's me, Rob, joined by my co-hosts, Allison and Adam. Their links and all of our links to social media will be in the comments, not in the comments, in the bio section of the video, and also in the bio section of the podcast as well. So go check it out. You can see them there. A couple things I want to let you all know. By the time that this episode comes out, the my Returnal review should be up by then. So go check it out. It'll be on the channel, on the Ambitious Casual YouTube channel. Also, the week that this podcast also comes up, I'm going to be bringing back my weekly video game podcast, or also show that's going to be on YouTube, the Video Game Beat, so I can cover, weekly stuff that's happening. It's not going to be super edited. It's just going to be me sitting down talking about the things that's been released or talked about or shown that week, and then I'm going to just bring them together in one place for you on Saturdays starting next week, or the week that this podcast releases. So look forward to that. Y'all, we're getting closer and closer to E3. Everything's starting. From the day of this recording, the day that we're recording tomorrow, we're getting Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West. We're getting a Sonic thing. We're getting Far Cry in 2 days from now. It's I'm so excited. So the time is here. E3 is very near. So I'm very excited. So I hope everyone watching and listening is excited as well. So until next time, y'all. Peace out.
See ya.
Bye.